Francesco Cipollone, a seasoned entrepreneur and CEO of Phoenix Security, a contextual-based vulnerability management platform. His credentials run deep, from leading application and cloud security at HSBC to serving as a senior security consultant at AWS, plus authoring several books and keynoting at global conferences. Today, we're exploring what separates true AI agents from glorified chatbots, why Francesco's Phoenix Security uses six different LLMs working together instead of one super agent, and the sobering economics behind AI implementation. Whether you're navigating AI hype or seeking practical guidance on implementing agents responsibly, this conversation offers the pragmatic perspective our industry needs right now.
The Application Security Podcast is brought to you by Security Journey. Security Journey is an enterprise-class solution with lessons that are built on learning science principles to deliver long-term, measurable results. Learn more at securityjourney.com.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Application Security Podcast. This is Chris Romeo. I am a VP at Security Compass and a general partner at Kerr Ventures, joined as always, not by an AI agent, but by Robert Hurlbut in the flesh.
That is true. Hey, Chris. Yeah, Robert Hurlbut, and I am a principal product security architect and threat modeling trainer at Torion. And yes, as you said, I'm here. It's not my AI agent, but
I'm trying to think of a question I should ask you to confirm you're actually real. You're just an AI agent that's somehow figured out how to do video in a window.
2 plus 2.
Yeah. You got to say 5 too, because that's the correct throw off the AI answer.
Always
so.
Throw it off. Yeah, throw off.
We're joined by a friend who's been on the show a couple of different times in the past. Francesco is always on the cutting edge of a lot of stuff that's happening in AppSec, and I know he's been diving deeply into the world of AI and agents, and he's here to educate us some about that. But first, Francesco, before we start talking about geek stuff and security and bits and bytes, our audience is generally aware of my Get Outside and Play initiative, where people in cybersecurity need to put down the keyboard and go into the real world and do something else that's not technology related. So what do you like to do that gets you away from work and gets you away from a keyboard?
You haven't asked me if I was a bot or not.
Well, I know you are. No.
I think I have 3 answers for that. I have 2 healthy one and an unhealthy one.
Okay.
On the healthy one, I started getting the podcast out in the street. So I started doing walk and talks, like 5 to 10 minutes by, we're all remote with Phoenix. So we tend to work silly hours. So I tend to encourage all my team and myself to get out at least 3 times a day. So at least that keeps a pace. And because during those breaks, I usually record stuff, I think I said, why not taking the walk and talks as a podcast? And that started the cyber walk and cyber talks. So I can hit 2 birds with a stone. And then on the more well-known one, I'm a runner. And apparently I'm hiring more runners as a sales guys. So we are on a healthy, unhealthy trend of pushing each other to run more. So I am going back on runs at least 3 times a week and running a couple of half marathon. I think that's a sane measure of running. And on the unhealthy one, you can see in the background, I have quite a big collection of whiskey. So we have done also with Phoenix in the spirit of security as events with mini bottle of whiskey and mini casks. So that's my unhealthy kind of.
Well, anything in moderation. Anything in moderation is fine.
That's why we do the small bottle.
Yeah, that's good stuff. It's fun whiskey. I enjoy whiskey once in a while. Not often, but not afraid to try a little bit and learn more about it. But so that's our Get Outside and Play moment on the Application Security Podcast. Robert, where are we going from here?
Yeah, so diving into our topic today, Francesco, what is the Agentic AI Manifesto and what motivated you to create it?
That's a really good question. So I'm a geek, so I got super excited about applying AI everywhere. And immediately I realized, hold on a second, this is a blockchain moment again. It's technology trying to find a problem rather than a problem trying to be solved with technology. And then I saw the adoption of AI everywhere, plastered everywhere, where I was puzzled as well by some technology acquisition that didn't make sense at all just to have AI in their portfolio. And then, of course, with Phoenix, we've been on a intense journey on deciding where to apply AI logically, because we've been pushing for an AI second initiative or agent that work for you. And I think the pivotal moment was when I saw an advert of agent don't get tired, replace your human with agent. And I think that's the worst message you can send out. So we want to send something that helped and promote a good use of AI. So AI second was maybe a too harsh movement because I think I am AI keen, but not AI everywhere. So we created this manifesto of agent that work for you, not instead of you. And hence we created the manifesto to define kind of the guideline of logic, really. Where can you apply AI? Where shouldn't you apply AI? How do you apply safely AI? And I didn't want this to be in conflict as well with other initiatives like LLM security initiative from OWASP. So I didn't want this to be yet another security guideline, but also hinting at, there are privacy concerns, there are security concerns, so consider those as well. But this is really use AI in a logical sense and apply AI second, use human first, because in the end, you can't fire an AI.
Well, let's talk about a definition then of agentic AI, and then because I've been following along in the world of AI, but I don't know that I've been in the deep end of the pool, and so I'd love to just get a perspective on when we talk about agentic AI, what is that, and then how is it different from the part that I understand better, which is LLMs and kind of the ChatGPT side of the world, or all the competitors of it.
Yeah, that's even a more tricky question. I don't think we have a good definition of what define an agent or what define an autonomous agent. In my head, and what we applied as well with Phoenix, is something that can live and breathe and does more than just a wrap or a prompt in front of a ChatGPT. So it needs to be autonomous. It needs to perform by itself. You need to double check its work, and it needs to deliver something to the user. And ideally, chaining with other agents. So it needs to collaborate with other agents and be reactive. I think for me, the best example of an agent is Cursor, where you have the agent that checked his work and then send prompt back. And it's kind of self-healing and self-repeating. That, for me, was the best definition of agent and what we applied as well with Phoenix. Well, I've seen the word being abused by a glorified chatbot or a glorified AI agent. That by no means those are AI application, but they can't be called agent. But right now, everything is an agent. Everything has an agent. As long as you have a function that is performed by an LLM, it's called an agent. For me, an agent should be autonomous, have some memory, be trained ideally, or having a RAG or having some level of customization that deliver a brain with
Mhm.
an opinion, not just an
So
LLM with a prompt.
but the LLM is still the heart of
Correct.
the agent, right? So the agent, just to make sure I understand this, the agent is not the LLM. The agent is like a communication layer or communication that's talking to the LLM, but yet has its own memory to store things and perhaps have a task list or something that it's working on. Is
Yeah.
that a fair assessment?
Yeah. So probably the best example that I can get is our researcher. That is our first agent that we published. That is basically 6 LLM that operate one against each other and check each other's work from a single prompt. So you ask, hey, I have this set of vulnerabilities. Can you give me more detail? Can you research all of the threat intelligence? And you have the first AI agent that goes scroll all the web, scrape the web, understand if those are blogs, if those are just marketing articles. That's a first agent. Then send it to another agent that basically scraped and creates a vector analysis of the vulnerability, and then send it to another agent with memory that was trained by us and Google. And that then get passed to another agent to get a description based on the other one. So it's a series of agents that deliver a set of action and then deliver it back to you. And then you can interact with the agent saying, can you give me more detail about this? Or can you understand how using this information in my context, something changed? So that's the interaction part. But in itself, the agent is not just, hey, this is a prompt, send it to ChatGPT, give me an answer, but do something with that. And then if needed, send it back to an LLM. And you can we use different LLM to get different answers. For example, we use the original version of the scraper was with the very early model of ChatGPT. Then we use Google Gemini because it's way more precise on a RAG-based retrained model. And we use the same version but non-trained because it's better at creating inference. So it's also using different model and different things. And that's a state of the art in a way. But by no means like cursor use, recursive action, and some local engine like launching a prompt or launching a thing based on a reasoning model that is Claude or any other model. So those are good example, I think, of agents that things to action, recheck their work, take their input, refeed that input inside, re-ask some other different question, and get to an outcome that is more than just, here's a question, give me an answer.
So you described one of the advantages of the agentic AI approach is being able to use different models potentially in different spots. Is there also a performance? Like, why not just have one super agent? Like, why have 6 individual agents? I mean, that would be the Terminator from Arnold Schwarzenegger's famous movies. That would be the super agent. But why not have just one super agent that does everything? Why break it into 6 chunks?
I think, well, long story short, I think it's cooler and more performant to have multiple agents doing different things. Second, the more you feed into a chat history, the more any agent or any LLM lose context or tend to hallucinate more. So the more the context grows, the more the token grows. So having micro prompt, I found, gives you better answer than a massive context on one specific one LLM. Then you have multiple LLM that start specializing, like OpenAI start specializing in giving the biggest and the widest answer overall, while Gemini is specializing in giving you the more precise answer. So when you retrain a specific agent, and then there are other gone. My memory has been reset. But there are other like the O1 model, open source model, or the Hugging Face, or the model on Hugging Face, or Llama, that are more generic and more trainable. So I think we are seeing the second generation of LLM, and then that will make agents using different LLM and even adversarial LLM more useful. And then it's a technology, so it depends on your use case. Sometimes over engineering this might not be needed, and using one LLM with one prompt will give you the answer. Sometimes, like when you need to do research, especially when you need to do inference on a graph, when you have a series of logic elements where you need to jump between nodes in a graph, one LLM is generically very bad. It's I went into the geek mode. I spent an enormous amount of time understanding the kind of the advantage and disadvantage of different models, but sometimes I talk about it and I don't realize that I lose some part of the audience.
And no, I wanted to unlock that knowledge. So you
No,
did
that's
all the
great.
research. Now I'm
Yeah,
just gleaning it in a 3-minute segment. So I like that.
yeah, definitely. So, what are some of the key principles or pillars of the manifesto that are important here to talk about?
Yeah, so the very first one, as I said before, was very important for me is to not demonize LLM, not demonize agent, but also using it as a technology. So using people and process first, and then agents to augment people and their reasoning. So doing the boring stuff faster. And if there is a better process, just leave it as a process. And then security by design, but again, not doing a whole manifesto about security, but referencing already the other manifestos that are there. Again, privacy by design, not doing a whole manifesto on privacy, but referencing to other existing one. But the core of the manifesto is really to use agents or in general LLM as a technology aiding the human, not replacing the human. And he's trying to stress that concept. It's like we need to 10x with this technology um, human and removing boring process or stale process that can be enhanced by this technology. But by no mean we need to obsess about this technology to then fix everything. Like some things are already fixed and they don't need enhancement by AI. And I always think about the toasts that are internet and IoT connected and what that can cause to the security of an IoT or a house, basically, or why the cat or why the fridge need to be connected. Some technology are good to be left as they are.
Yeah, that's true. Like the toaster, do I really need my phone to send me a notification that my toast is done? Like I can just stand there and enjoy 15 seconds of staring at the ceiling or the wall and thinking about something amazing. But
How
Francesco, I tend
many
to,
how many internet connected toaster have you seen in your life, Chris?
I have never actually seen one, but I haven't gone looking. I'm sure Amazon has them somewhere and somebody will send me a link. But Francesco, I agree with where your stance. That's the same tack that I've been taking in regards to threat modeling and just in general as well. That AI, agents, LLMs, these are things that can enhance the capabilities of the human being behind it. They're not a replacement. And so there's so many people
Yeah.
saying, these are a replacement, be afraid you're going to lose your job because you're going to be
Right.
replaced by AI. It's just not the reality of the technology right now. I mean, and maybe these people are just, they want to be super visionaries and they want people to think they're, have the best possible ideas and they see the future. But I just don't see that future where, at least in the short term, an AI agent can problem solve like a human being can. Because I always come back to the fact no LLM has ever had an original thought.
No.
They haven't. They don't make original thoughts. They can't create original thought. Inside of the, our human brains is where original thought comes from. And so that's
I think
so
about it as programming. Like programming helped us doing boring stuff way faster. Like laptop have helped us doing the same thing over and over. But I think we're going back in time because I've been vibe coding and I've been super excited about that. But I find myself needing to think more instead of less. So going back from agile back to waterfall, because now I need to think about what the things that I want to write need to do, what are the guardrails, what are the exact instruction. And that made me think that an agent can replace a human because if you give crop in, crop out, sorry for my French, but basically as silly input will deliver a very bad output. And we've seen basically the first vibe coded application being completely wiped out. So an LLM just stitch things together in a very fast way. But a human empower that knows how to use a prompt engineering on a cursor will write so much more code so much faster than any other thing. So I think we need to train the next generation of developer to use this technology securely, rather than saying you're never going to have a job or you're going to be replaced. Like, we need to embrace and adopt this technology and understand how to use it and how to 10x people. And ultimately, you will need less people to do the same things. And that's a fact that nothing will change. Like with cloud, we needed less data center, but then those data center became cloud data center. And I think we are facing this kind of second stage of the revolution where we said we don't need a developer anymore. And then we start realizing actually we need senior developer and more than what we had. And now we're realizing if we don't train the junior developer of the next generation, we're not going to have enough developer tomorrow that know how to use LLM. So I think as any technology, we got super excited. We gone overboard because this is kind of a dot-com bubble or a pivotal moment where we say cloud.com. Now this is the next technology revolution, if you want, where everything will be impacted by AI. We got super excited. Now we are slowly rationalized and coming off the hype of excitement, as Garner says.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, potentially there's a future role for an AI coach where all they do is teach how to do. I guess they'd be a prompt engineer, but I was trying to find a unique marketing flair for it, calling them. It's not, you're not a life coach or a fitness coach. You're an AI coach, and I'll help you to 10x your output at work so that you can be the best. All for $995 a week. That'll be an offer that we have later. So, okay, what are the risks if we don't adopt this, Francesco? What if we just say, forget this whole AI second thing that Francesco's talking about, this manifesto about how we need to focus on the human being in the loop, in the center? What if we just say, forget it, we're not doing it? What are the potential damage, risks, challenges, threats we could have?
I mean, it's not just a hypothesis, it's a reality. We've seen Coinbase saying, if you don't adopt technology and AI, you're fired. And then all of a sudden, 2 months later, had to backpedal it. We're seeing an overexcitement about technology. And as a CEO, I am pushing for vibe coding because I see the advantage of human empowered by technology, but using it as a tool, not having people becoming the tool of a technology. And I think that's the risk that we're facing, where skipping the AI second or agent that work for you, we will smash things that works really well, replacing with things that are half-baked and having to backpedal. And that's what business will face. And I think I was very surprised with one of the latest articles from McKinsey that is in general one that push for technology first, but actually caution on using AI everywhere and push organization to be careful and think, is this process really needing AI, or are we trying to push another digital transformation for the sake of digital transformation?
I laugh every time I hear those words now. Digital transformation. It's like, what are we thinking? Like, what was somebody thinking? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I missed a meeting or something. Maybe there was a meeting and I just didn't show up. And then we went with digital transformation and it became a whole cottage industry. And it's like, I don't know. Every time I can't
Well,
help
it
but chuckle.
was the kind of a free for all for consultancies to actually go and sell something new, and it became digital transformation. But it became almost a kind of feeding themselves, like digital transformation that was done for the purpose of doing digital transformation. And I see the danger here.
It's a recursive, you just described a recursion problem. Where does it end? When does the transformation end? Never. You're stuck.
Well, it's fueled by money, and I think AI and LLM are fueled by money. And right now,
Definitely.
I think we are seeing most of the LLM being subsidized. But if you take and then An N2000, an NVIDIA 2000 machine box, it costs $128,000 to run on a monthly basis.
That's to
Cursor costs
run?
20 just to run
That's
on a monthly
to
basis.
operate, not
Just
to
to operate.
buy.
Yeah.
No, just the bare metal. That's just the bare metal to run. If you load on top of it a model, or if you need to retrain a model, throw it another couple of million just to throw a model with AI engineers costing $500,000 each one. Right now, we're seeing Cursor
Those are
tools
the cheap ones.
subsidized at for $20. Like
So-
at a certain point, there will be a reckoning of AI will cost so much and will consume
Interesting.
so much power. And I've seen somewhere that BC are running out of cash to actually fuel this mega valuation of AI technology. So I don't know if it's going to be a bubble, but AI is expensive. Models are expensive. We run an experiment, and in a couple of days, we spend probably 10 grand just on an experiment.
Wow.
So
I
we ended
hadn't
up
thought of it.
locally.
I hadn't thought of this angle to it. You're expanding my mind here, like making me think we are in an AI bubble that will eventually pop, because at some point you can't just throw away money to try to build market share. There's got,
Yeah,
like you
but
said, there's a day of reckoning where there just isn't any more money to throw to try to get a $20 customer that's costing you $200 a month or something.
if you're lucky, $200, I would suspect probably it's 2,000 to 20.
Wow.
But it's the lock-in. Once you lock in that workflow, it's really hard to get unlocked. So you end up spending more on the extra. And I've seen it happen with my team. So you get locked in a methodology, and I think that's kind of the model. But I've seen other organizations completely blowing up because of the cost of token or the cost of running local LLM. The financial model that in SaaS used to be second, with LLM needs to be first. You need to think about how you're going to charge and how you're going to recuperate that money, because you're going to run out of cash very, very quickly with H100 or H200 and Quent. That's the model I was thinking about. That is the coding agent. It's going to cost you probably 4 H200. That's kind of 128,000 a month multiplied by 4. Just to run a coding agent or a helper. That's expensive, very expensive, very quickly.
Wow. So we've been talking about how everybody is racing to make the next great AI thing. What are some challenges of AI agents with vulnerability remediation?
That's my favorite question. Thank you, Robert. I think if we reconnect to what we've been discussing so far, AI is extremely intelligent, but for specific action. If you throw a lot of things to an AI agent, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So there are already methods of contextualizing, prioritizing that don't need AI agent. Where AI comes really in handy is the best path to remediation is looking at an enormous corpus of information and giving you kind of a between this, and this context, what is the best path to remediation? How do you auto fix a build file? How do you fix a series of build files? How do you auto fix some code? Like that's the good things that the AI can do, but it needs to act on an already very selected number of vulnerability. What I see a lot of AI first company and initiative that are just saying we're going to fix everything with AI, and I'm pretty sure they're going to run out of cash before they even blink the first customer. Now, I might be pessimistic, but I also saw the numbers, and I also run a company as a CEO, so I'm trying to make economy work. So I know that nothing can, I know that we can't throw everything to an LLM and expect it to get us an answer. But there are already existing process that works really well, and then using specific agent for micro functions so that the number of tokens that you burn are fairly low, or you can even run locally with LLM with maybe not GPU but CPU, so you can optimize the work with specific model and just using for specific function. Like for us, doing scraping and doing inference and analysis of an enormous amount of corpus of text, we couldn't find a traditional AI that could fix that. So we defaulted on LLM because that was the best application for that, because we couldn't find any other technology solution, and that was the fastest and more intelligent solution. Other things like prioritization, we have already probably a state-of-the-art model that does prioritization, where we already achieved 98% reduction of vulnerability on certain of our customers. So we don't need to apply LLM in there. But on the remaining one, yes, absolutely. We can find the best path to remediation on 100, 200 vulnerabilities, but it's not millions of tokens or hours and hours of running an LLM, but it's minutes. I can get you an answer in minutes already on a refined amount of text. So I think, just long story short, there is an application of AI agents in vulnerability management. We are a big champion of 3 agents. That is the remediator, the analyzer, and the fixer. But also there are problems that should not be solved by agents or are very expensive if solved by agents.
Well, this has been very enlightening, Francesco. This class you're teaching about AI agents, you just didn't know it, that it was going to be a 30-minute class where I was going to learn a bunch, but I did. When you think about kind of a key takeaway or a call to action coming out of this Agentic AI Manifesto and all that we talked about in regards to agents and LLMs, what do you see as a key takeaway for our audience?
I use my favorite sentence for this. Use technology as a tool, otherwise you'll become the tool. Use a tool
That
as a
sounds like
tool, otherwise you become the tool.
okay.
And I've
You need
been
to send
using
that
this for my whole life.
send that to our mutual friend of all of us, Izar Terendash. He'll make it into a T-shirt. He bought a T-shirt machine and he's creating all these T-shirt AI related T-shirts, and that'd be a good one for his collection. So yeah, that's true though. I mean, it fits into everything that you just described here, so it makes perfect sense. So, Francesco, thank you for. Yeah, go ahead.
It's
Give you the last
the
word.
blockchain moment. It's the blockchain moment. It's the cloud moment. Not everything needs to go in the cloud. Not everything needs to have a blockchain. Not everything needs to have an LLM. So use technology as a technology and always rely on human, because you can't fire an LLM, you can't fire an agent, but you can fire a human that use or misuse an agent.
Well, now I'm going to go delete all my blockchain stuff I was working on. I finally thought I was at the forefront of something. But Francesco, thank you for joining the Application Security Podcast, educating us, enlightening us on this topic, and we'll definitely talk again in the future. When I need to learn something else, I'll let you know.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.